The pressure is heating up on Rachel Reeves ahead of the November budget. Can Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana's new party stay relevant, and would leaving the ECHR actually make a difference? There's lots to talk about, so let's get political. Hello, welcome to Let's Get Political on Quays TV, a student political show where we discuss the big things happening in British politics. I'd like to welcome two new guests, Oliver Sykes and Harvey Wright, and our returning guest, Charlie Waller. How are you all doing, guys?
Doing
all good?
Good, thank you.
Good, thank you, yeah.
Fantastic. So we've got 3 topics, and we will start with the budget. So, Chancellor Rachel Reeves has said she will make necessary choices in the budget after the world has thrown more challenges our way. In an unusual pre-budget speech in Downing Street, Reeves did not rule out a U-turn on Labour's general election manifesto pledge not to hike income tax, VAT or national insurance. It was looking likely. Is anyone shocked?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, share the sentiment.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, you know, an election, I think that's going to annoy people more is that it's an election pledge, and it's, you know, they probably could have, you know, they could have foreseen that the public finances were going to have such a difficult time because of the way the Conservatives left them, and they pretended that wasn't, you know, that they were shocked when they came into power, but I think it's going to really annoy people, and I think it's not helping them at all. So, you know, we had a few weeks ago a Rachel Reeves in the chamber who was, you know, quite upset. We're never really too sure about what that was about, but there was lots of rumour at the time, and that sent the markets a little bit, you know, because you want to see the Chancellor in a sort of control and have power. So it's interesting because I think there was the sort of thing over the week with the housing arrangements, and, you know, it's kind of that one rule, you know, Angela Rayner went. I don't know really what went on there for Rachel Reeves to stay, but Keir Starmer's probably thinking, well, I need my Chancellor who's prepped this budget to be there for the budget, which would be in a month later. If they weren't there, it's going to knock all stability. So it's difficult, isn't it? I think
there's currently a £20 billion gap in meeting the Chancellor's tax and spending rules. So the question is, Charlie, do you think she should be sacked if she does increase these taxes?
I think if they do increase taxes, Labour's lost any chance of getting voted in again for quite a while. I mean, I personally, if she does get sacked, I don't see how that's going to fix much. There's still that hole. We're still in a cost of living crisis. I think just more, really for courtesy, she should be. You know, she broke a promise. She should be sacked. It's kind of how politics works. But what is it going to do? I don't see what's going to happen next if she gets sacked.
They're arguing that there's going to be, you know, by getting the public finances in a better state, that there's going to be more investment. And in return with investment, you know, there's greater opportunities for people. So I suppose that is the argument for why they're going to have to go up. But don't promise these kind of things. If you know you're going to want to spend more and rebuild public finances, then don't say you're not going to put up, you know, income tax.
I think, I mean, it's a tale as old as time. Politicians will make promises, and whether for personal reasons or for unforeseen reasons in the global politics, those promises cannot be kept. I think it's the situation the Labour Party found themselves in after 14 years of Tory rule was an impossible situation. We're at the highest level of debt that we've had in peacetime since 1948 because of Johnson, Truss and Sunak. This is not Rachel Reeves' fault. The Labour Party did not put us in this situation. And I think it's kind of foolhardy of them to promise that it wouldn't go up. And I think it is inevitable that they will have to do that. But it's a very delicate line I think they will have to walk when they do it. I think if they are to raise taxes, they cannot focus solely on one area of society. If they are to raise taxes for the regular working people, they have to raise taxes on the top 1%. And I think that's where they're going to struggle.
Do you think that then there's more of a trust issue now that we saw there was trust issues with the Conservatives, but now it's coming in with Labour as well?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the past year alone, there's been. You've only got to look at recently with Peter Mandelson, Angela Rayner, Rachel Reeves. This is only in the past matter of weeks. You can go further back. You've got the donor from the big Labour donor in terms of like funding Sir Keir Starmer with the suit and everything. And yeah, you've got plenty of things over the past year. I mean, basically from that first party conference around then, it was showing, especially with like the winter fuel allowance and everything, that things weren't particularly easy for them. You know, they've had no honeymoon period at all in terms of being like, you know, they came in with this big majority, and I think that was mainly because everyone wanted the Conservative Party out. So, you know, I think they came in the idea that everyone wants Labour back, you know, but I don't particularly think they do at the moment.
Yeah. So speaking about the Conservatives, Kemi Badenoch has called on the Prime Minister to sack Rachel Reeves if she does put up taxes. But as we know, the Conservatives also increased taxes after promising not to when they were in office. But she did blame the COVID pandemic. So should we cut them some slack, Charlie, that they were dealing with COVID, not for the whole 14 years, but in the last few years?
I think a broken clock is what Wright wants today. I think she's got a point. I don't think that, I'm not a fan of the Conservatives. They messed up a lot in 14 years. I don't think that means we should discredit every single point they make because, you know, new people come in, people leave, there are reshuffles and all that. I do think that while COVID obviously had a massive impact and Brexit had a massive impact, we do need to start taking accountability for what's happening right now. And, like, there's only so much you can blame.
Do you think the Conservatives do take accountability now?
I definitely don't think Labour does. I think Labour's very stuck in the past with that. I think they've forgotten that they're not an opposition anymore. I don't think Conservatives take accountability either. I think everyone, it's almost like they're seeing COVID as this golden ticket out of being held accountable, which is very horrible considering how much of a tragedy it was. And I just think it seems like almost every party is very stuck in the past with obviously it's still an issue, but everyone's very stuck in the past with COVID and refuses to accept accountability for everything. It's like increasing spending by 70 billion in their first budget. I mean, surely some of that is to blame for the current gap.
Well, you'll be happy to know the Tories have a plan when they get back, if they get back into government in 2029. They've said they'll be cutting government spending by 47 billion by cutting welfare spending, reducing the size of the civil service. So they make it all sound very easy now, but why didn't they do this during the 14 years if it was that easy to be cutting the spending?
I think it's very easy to say, well, this is what we'd do, this is how we'd make it better, when you're not actually the ones with the responsibility of doing it. We're in a time where headlines do more power for your party than your actual actions. People don't have the patience to wait for the new budgets to actually see the time through and reap the benefits of it. People like Farage is a very good example of someone who's very good at using quick, snappy lines to get headlines to gain support for him. And while not having to deal with any of the responsibilities himself, it's all, I know what's best, but I'm going to leave you to do the work.
Yeah, of course. So if Rachel Reeves does resign or is sacked, does anyone here think of a replacement for her that could do a better job?
Different party. That would be my replacement personally. I don't think I know the individuals in the Labour Party well enough to think of one.
Should we be blaming Labour for the state of the finances now, or should we still be bringing up Tories?
I think we should blame them for the decisions they're making now, because they're going back, they're messing with manifesto pledges, and I'm sorry, but July 2024 wasn't that long ago, and the economic state then was pretty dire. They definitely would have known what they were getting themselves into, because you have talks with the civil service and everything in terms of the passover of power and everything. So I don't buy it, really. I think that they should have known what they were getting themselves into. So I think that the main thing is that fair enough if it wasn't a manifesto pledge, but it was a manifesto pledge, and that is what people voted them in on. So...
Yeah. Well, we are in a few weeks away from the budget, so we will see what happens. Because maybe no taxes will go up, but, being optimistic. So we'll move on to the next topic then of today, which is all about your party. So Zara Sultana, who's the Coventry South MP and left the Labour Party in July, has said her new left-wing political party, which is called Your Party, it's not the official name yet, founded with Jeremy Corbyn, is aiming at running the government despite high-profile splits emerging in the movement. And she said it's a 40-year project and not a protest. If elected, it would focus on nationalising, building council homes, providing people with good, secure jobs. She's also said that she has concerns about what a Nigel Farage government would do to working class communities, to minority communities and to LGBT people. But do you think your party are relevant anymore with how the Greens have sort of come in and stolen the line?
No. I don't. I think I was very in the target audience for your party when they kind of became a thing. I had just become old enough to vote. All of my friends just become old enough to vote, and all of us were really excited. And I can't say any of my peers have mentioned them in a long time, unless it's to bring up their failures.
Mm.
I mean, I'll say I'm a little biased. I voted for the Greens in the last election. I'm going to be voting for them again. But I had hope for your party when it first appeared. I thought it was an interesting development and something I could possibly get behind. But I don't. Corbyn, I think, as much as I respect him and his values, he cannot lead. His example of the 2019 election against Boris Johnson, controversy follows him everywhere, whether it be anti-Semitism in his party or the transphobic comments made by Adnan Hussein. I don't think anything. He's getting old as well. It's like there's only so long. He's not going to be around for 40 years.
Corbyn and Zara Sultana are very popular figures. Do you not think that would help them at all with trying to nick votes from the Greens when they get up and running and when they reveal policies? And
I think they're popular with our generation, but they would struggle immensely to take the rooted Labour voters, and especially if we're talking about Tories or Reform, I think they'd really struggle with that. So I don't see, at least any time in the near future, a possibility where they could make substantial numbers. And with the Green Party now doing so well, I think they have become the new left wing. The Green Party have gobbled up everything that all the left wing voters that Labour have pushed away, and leaving your party with no real voter base, I don't think.
yeah, it's quite interesting because when Zara was asked if she would join the Greens, she said, "We are a different party." Are they? Different? Your party and Greens are different?
I would say they are. I mean, yeah, they're both left wing, but she claimed that they're a socialist party and the Green isn't, and then the Greens aren't. Sorry, and then Polanski responded and he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said essentially that they don't use the term socialists because it turns people off quite a bit, and a lot of people don't know what it means. And in that sense, they are similar. But I mean, when asked about a coalition and when talking about the Green Party, Zara also said that she condemns the Green Party for saying that they would continue to have diplomatic relations with Israel. She believed that they should leave NATO, and Polanski said that NATO plays a very important role. They disagree on a lot of kind of international relations, I would say. I think domestic policy, they're probably quite similar, but internationally, I do think they're quite different. And I think that your party's approach, whether I disagree with it or not, I think it's somewhat unrealistic, and it's a bit, even if you disagree with it, I mean, wanting to leave NATO because you think it's imperialist at a time where Russia is attacking NATO, and I mean, I would say that Russia is a bit more of an imperialist threat than NATO is. It's just a bit tone deaf.
I think it's interesting because, the Greens haven't sprung from anywhere. It feels sort of like it at the moment, but they've been around for 35 years, since July 1990. And now they're probably only really, gaining the sort of momentum that they've probably wanted for years. Between 2010 and 2019, they only had one seat within the House of Commons. 4 seats in 2024. They've just gone over 100,000 members recently. Your party, they've just hit 50,000 members, which for a party that is not even really formed yet, that's quite impressive, I think. I think that, they've got this conference. I think it was sent out to people that are sort of affiliated with your party or interested in your party, their founding conference is set to take place at the end of the month in Liverpool, the weekend of the 29th, 30th, and that's going to be sort of a chance for them to, build what they kind of want. And I think what has helped the Green Party is the change of leadership to Zach Polansky. I think that is what has really lifted them up. I don't particularly. I think he is similar to Farage in the way that he is a very good public speaker. I think he is able to bring people along with him. So I think
social media presence as well.
Yeah, no, he's very good in terms of the media. I don't think he ever really seems to stop. I actually was watching a video of him doing a speech the other day, and it was really interesting because it was sort of a piece, I think, with one of the big media organisations, and him having a script writer / speech assistant, and them sort of helping him run through. So I think, he is different to a lot of politicians as well. That's one thing that's quite noticeable about him.
I've seen a comparison between him and the newly elected mayor of New York, Mamdani. I think they are very similar in their personality, and they don't use political speak. They don't edge around questions. They answer it directly, and they're very honest and they're very charismatic. And I think they're very good at capturing people's attention and saying the right thing to get them elected. And obviously, it's worked in New York, and I think it's paying off here in Britain as well.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention about Adnan Hussein about so he tweeted that trans women were not biologically women, but Zara Sultana has been expressing concerns about Nigel Farage on LGBT issues, but surely she should be looking a little bit closer to home in terms of with Adnan's issue. So, trans issues are really, really important for young people, and this is quite a disastrous thing for them. Does he need to be booted out if they want to get young people back on? Or is it too late? Because the Greens have come in and swept up.
I think he should be. I don't think it's necessarily his initial comments, but after responding to some of his followers, especially their concerns, saying, hey, this is transphobic, blah, 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 their arguments, he said it was a pathetic reaction and absolute hysteria, which just isn't a way to respond to young, vulnerable people. I mean, if a minority is telling you that you're being offensive, 9 times out of 10 you probably are. I think that, obviously I can't talk for trans people on their issues, but I would bet a lot of money on the fact that they are sick and tired of being a political playground and always being, debated on their existence. And when this new party comes in and says they're woke and they're for young people, and then they do the exact same thing every other party's been doing since trans people existed, it's disappointing, and it just shows that they lack humanity and they're not in touch with actual people. Whether you agree with what he said or not, it's just not what you would expect from a party that claims to be for young people and for LGBTQ plus people. And I think, he probably should be booted off the party.
I think because his excuse was that, in my circle, all Muslims are conservative Muslims, and that's a very broad statement. You can't say that about such a large group of people, and maybe the reason for that is that he's a landlord, house-owning oligarch, and the people that he's around are going to be the more conservative types. And I don't think that fits with the Your Party narrative at all. The whole point is that it's for the working people, for young people, for those vulnerable. And you've got someone who's one of the biggest issues in our society today is rent and landlords. And not only is he a part of that regime, if you will, he's pushing these racist Muslim stereotypes and transphobic comments.
Okay, so we're yet to have a name for the party. So I'm going to ask you all a question. What would you name it? You can just say your party, but Oliver, do you have...
Well, I think it's interesting because there has been this whole discussion about, since they announced Your Party, well, we're not going to call it Your Party, but we haven't, and it's like, well, you're sticking with it for now. So I think just stick with it because everyone knows Your Party now, so I don't see really why it's recognisable, and I think it fits if they're saying that it's for the many and not the few, then I think Your Party is okay. But I suppose they might they might want something different, and they might want their sort of members to have a say. But I think if you've gone with that for now, you might as well stick with it.
Okay. Harvey, what do you think?
I would go with Corbyn's last huzzah. I very much see this as like he's tried his time with the Labour Party, it didn't work, and he wants to see his beliefs come into Parliament, and I commend him for it. But like I said, he's an old man, no fault of his own. He can't carry on forever, and I don't see it lasting for the 40-year plan that they have.
I mean, I think they've gotten to the point now where all of their media coverage, it's been plastered with your party on it. I think it's a bit like when Twitter changed its name to X. Everyone still calls it Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone still knows it as Twitter. Even if someone does call it X, Twitter is normally in brackets next to it. So I think they can't change it at this point because that is what they're known as. If they did, I'm sure it would be another cheesy name and something inspirational. Obviously, I think People's Party, that's what the Greens used to be called, I think, so that's
Right.
gone. But if I was them, I wouldn't change it because it's too far gone now. It's what they're known as.
What about the left party? Is that too
Yeah.
rubbish?
But there might be like copyright issues. I'm not sure.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to our last topic of today, which is all about the ECHR, which I always say wrong. It's the European Convention on Human Rights. It's a 75-year-old agreement to protect fundamental rights. The 46 countries of the Council of Europe are signed up and agree to guarantee rights including the right to life, protection against torture, right to privacy, marriage, religion and free speech. Some politicians say the European Court of Human Rights, which rules on ECHR breaches, limits the ability of countries to manage migration and interferes with their sovereignty. So, Keir Starmer's Labour government says the ECHR's working can be modernised, but Conservatives and Reform want to leave them entirely. Let's say they do, Reform get into power and they leave it. Would it actually make a difference?
No. I mean, not only is it a threat to British citizens' rights, if you look at the actual statistics, Uni of Oxford study found that less than 1% of foreign criminals who've appealed their deportation in the UK have won on the grounds of human rights. The two main articles that are up for discussion are Article 3, which is protection from torture, and Article 8, which is protection of a family life. Article 3 means basically we can't deport people to somewhere even more dangerous. This is known as non-refoulement in international law. It is a very core principle in it. It's also included in the UN Refugee Convention, which we are also signed up to. I think if we have to leave multiple international law conventions to pass one policy, surely that's a sign it's a red flag. I mean, I don't see how it could be a good idea. And then Article 8 is protection of family life. But this is a qualified right, not an absolute right, which means that the convention allows states to violate it for a legitimate reason, and controlling immigration and protecting public safety are both seen as legitimate reasons. Another Uni of Oxford study found that since 1980, so 45 years ago, the ECHR has only ruled against the UK in 13 removal cases, and only 4 of them were connected to Article 8. And so, realistically, the ECHR isn't really stopping us from doing much, unless we genuinely want to mass deport every single immigrant and do it really unethically. I don't see what's actually going to change, unless we just leave every single international law convention we're signed up to. Nothing's going to change whatsoever.
Does anyone think it could make a difference or not? No.
An interesting point I want to raise on it, though, is around the media coverage. And that was an interesting point from, I think, the same study, which basically says that the ECHR is frequently being misrepresented in reporting on deportation cases involving foreign national offenders, contributing to misconceptions that risk undermining trust in the legal system. So you've got media organisations here in the UK that are putting out headlines and putting out articles and reports which are making the sort of public debate out there, filling people with sort of information that's not helping to put out the right stuff, in terms of immigration and what's going on with the ECHR. So I think that the media coverage on sort of immigration with the ECHR is quite damaging, I think, because it's, as this study's saying, is not often correct at times.
I think the media coverage of this ties very much into the immigration coverage as a whole, because the real issue with immigration isn't the people escaping conflict and finding refuge in the UK. It's blown out of proportion by people like Farage, who are using it as a front to hide their motives of just personal gain, and they're only in politics for status and wealth. And fear-mongering using immigrants, they're all coming to steal your jobs, and the country's the way it is because of immigrants and not because of our 14-year in government. I think this is just another way of them to spread fear and hatred in the communities, to basically scare people into voting for them.
I think a lot of the media coverage is also because it's just got the word Europe in it. And I think a lot of people associate it with Brexit, and they're confused on why we're still in the European Convention of Human Rights if we've left Europe. I think a lot of people don't understand what Brexit was and how it worked. I think after Brexit, we've already lost a lot of, external checks and balances on the government. And if we leave the ECHR, we'll lose even more external scrutiny on our human rights. And it's just dangerous. And I don't think people understand that because they're so caught up in this idea that immigrants are the problem and we need to do everything we can to stop them from coming in. But the ECHR isn't even doing much to stop people from being deported.
I mean, Reform UK were the big talkers on this, but Conservatives recently announced that they're going to do the same. Are they just a little bit of a copycat because they're trying to stay relevant?
I very much think so, yes. I think they are very frightened by Reform. Reform have done a very good job of taking all the disillusioned Tory voters in the last election, and we've only seen that grow. Although I do think that Reform's popularity is being overstated by the media, but at the same time, I think that's true that Badenoch is doing her best to keep the Tory party relevant in what the right wing want, and that being the removal of these human rights.
Okay, well, I think that is it. Thank you so much to our guests, and thank you for watching. We'll be back in a fortnight, but for now, goodbye.